so sick of talking about Daniel Jones, but it's in the news every day. So I promise everybody, it's not like I'm like, wow, can't wait to talk about the Giants some more. This team drives me nuts. I would love to talk about anything but Daniel Jones, but we have to because the Giants released him earlier today. So first, the human side of this. Great. Giants did the right thing by Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has always done the right thing by the Giants. Zero beef with the Giants releasing him. And I mean this sincerely, because whatever, just because you're a bad football player doesn't mean you wish poorly on the person. I hope he I hope he goes somewhere and has more success as a quarterback. I hope that happens. And I think it might, not as a starter, but he'll be a high-end backup quarterback in the league. So, it's not interesting moving forward. There's no betting angle with the Giants, right? And there may not be a betting angle that's obvious, right now at least, with Daniel Jones this season. But I do think there is one. And again, it's not an obvious one, but I do think there's a way that he can impact potentially a betting market, a specific betting market, moving forward the rest of this season, depending on what he and his agent decide to do over the course of the rest of the year. Now, I will just say this to start. If I'm Daniel Jones, I'm signing a contract only for the rest of this season and then hitting free agency next year. That's what I don't know if that's what he's going to do. I think that's what makes the most sense. So we'll talk about the Giants and Bucs and give you our bets for that game to end the show with Tommy DeVito set to start for the Giants. But what's next for Daniel Jones, I think, is interesting. Now, I have seen people on social media talk about, and I think they're serious, some of them are serious at least, say that the Cowboys should sign Daniel Jones. I tweeted, what sense does that make? And the responses I got were mostly, well, because it would be funny because the Cowboys play the Giants next week on Thanksgiving and for vibes and LOL. Okay, great. I get it. Get your jokes off. They're mildly humorous. It makes zero sense from a football perspective. Cooper Rush is going to play for a couple weeks. The wheels are going to completely come off, and then you get Trey Lance to end the year, and they're going to fire the coaching staff, and they're probably going to draft a quarterback early, or not a quarterback early, but reload early around Dak Prescott to try and win next year. If you're Daniel Jones, why would you sign with Dallas? You're guaranteeing you're going to be a backup quarterback. He should go somewhere next year where he has the opportunity to start or at least be the bridge in front of a rookie. That's what Daniel Jones is going to try and do. So I think Dallas is crazy. So let's talk about some options that are not crazy for Daniel Jones. And the way I'm thinking about it is teams that can actually think about winning a Super Bowl that need to upgrade behind the starter. Let's talk about some of them. How about the LA Chargers? Justin Herbert goes down. Here's Taylor Heineke. I actually don't think Taylor Heineke is a terrible backup quarterback. Daniel Jones is better. And that's the thing that we need to consider here about Jones. He's not a starter. He's not here's the keys to the franchise for 17 games, but he's not terrible. He's just not great. He's definitely better than a lot of these backup quarterbacks. He's just not a starter. But he's definitely better than these backups. He's better than Taylor Heineke. How about in Miami? If the Dolphins keep ripping off wins, what if Tua gets concussed again? I'm not saying I want that to happen. Or what if he sprains his ankle, high ankles, whatever, breaks his arm? Who knows? Here's Tyler Huntley, season over. You don't think Daniel Jones is an upgrade over Tyler Huntley? He is. What about in Buffalo? The Bills could maybe win the Super Bowl this year. What if Josh Allen gets hurt and has to miss a game in January? You want Kyle Allen starting? Or do you want Daniel Jones starting? Seriously, think about it. These are teams that could use Daniel Jones as insurance if the starter gets hurt. How about Philadelphia, where that loser Kenny Pickett is currently the backup quarterback to Jalen Hurts? And for people that don't remember, how did Kenny Pickett get to Philadelphia? Because after the Steelers signed Russell Wilson, Kenny Pickett decided to take his ball and bitch and moan and go home and demand to be out of Pittsburgh because he couldn't bear the thought, if he was so butthurt by the Steelers adding competition because he was terrible last year and Mason Rudolph started the playoff game. That's how bad Kenny Pickett was. Let me tell you something. If I were Kenny Pickett, and let's say you bet. If I performed poorly for a year and Odyssey hired a new host and said, this person's going to be the host of the show and Nick, you're going to be the secondary person on the show, I would get up every day and make it my goal in life to make sure that person felt like there was no point for him or her to come to work. That's how good I would try to be. Like, if I were Kenny Pickett, my sole purpose in life would be to make sure that Russell Wilson never saw the field. Instead, he's like, you know what? I'm a Gen Z baby. I'm a loser. Trade me. And now he's the backup quarterback of the Eagles. Do you really, like, being serious, Daniel Jones is better than Kenny Pickett. Period. End of story. How about the San Francisco 49ers? If Brock Purdy can't, I'm being serious. Should the Niners sign Daniel Jones today and start him on Sunday? If Brock Purdy can't go? Otherwise, they would never do that, not on that short notice. It's Brandon Allen or Josh Dobbs. Like, you lose. And then we go to the number one, the lead option for Daniel Jones. I said it all preseason. Behind Jared Goff in Detroit in the preseason was Nate Sudfeld, who is horrendous, and Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker is the Lions back, and the Lions depth chart of quarterback behind Jared Goff is not great. Hendon Hooker is on that depth chart. They released Nate Sudfeld. Hooker right now is the guy that steps in for Jared Goff if Jared Goff gets hurt. And if that happens, your Super Bowl dreams are dashed. Your Super Bowl dreams are over. You're telling me that the Lions shouldn't sign Daniel Jones right now? Just in case Jared Goff gets hurt? Put Daniel Jones in that offense with that head coach and motivate him. Didn't work out in New York. No one believes in you. You're telling me that Daniel Jones couldn't win some games with that team, with that infrastructure around him, and with Ben Johnson calling the plays? Really? Does anyone out there think, seriously, that Hendon Hooker has a better chance of winning games in January for the Lions than Daniel Jones? Tom Moore, legendary offensive coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts, legendary offensive coordinator in the NFL, had a great line once when asked about Peyton Manning and Jim Sorgi and why Jim Sorgi would get no reps in practice behind Peyton Manning. And Tom Moore's answer was, because the reason why Jim Sorgi doesn't practice is because if 18 goes down, 18 is Peyton Manning. If 18 goes down, we're effed. And we don't practice effed. Okay, and that's great, and it's a great soundbite. If Jared Goff goes down, the Lions are effed. And I think they should practice effed. And they should sign Daniel Jones today, to back up Jared Goff. Because maybe, break glass in case of emergency, for all these teams, Brandon Allen in San Francisco, Kenny Pickett in Philadelphia, Kyle Allen in Buffalo, Taylor Heineke for the Chargers. Maybe if Miami gets to the tournament, Tyler Huntley. You tell me if you don't think Daniel Jones is better than all of these guys. You bet Phenomenal Football Friday. We'll get to the Bet-tacular coming up next hour. Femi is with me. Femi, you're a Cowboys fan. What do you think about the Daniel Jones conjecture here today for your favorite team?
Keep it far the hell away from my team. I don't want none of it. Don't want any of it. I need the quarterback play to be as bad as possible because the mission for the 2024 Dallas Cowboys is to make sure the 2025 Dallas Cowboys are equipped with a top 5 draft pick, and we don't need Daniel Jones coming into town. No,
LOLs?
Vibes.
I got someone tweeted me lulz, L-U-L-Z. I actually thought it was funny. It was like a funny response, but like it's not funny, right? I mean, it is, but it's also like if it actually happened in real life, it's not funny.
So it's funny on Thanksgiving, and then after that, the joke's done.